Hello there, my name's Rachel and this is my first video on YouTube, so here we go. I have always wanted to set up a YouTube account but never felt the right time to post anything or had the right thing to say, but I feel like a lot has happened in my life and actually it could help a lot of other people, hence this very first video. Now, it's a video I feel like I should never have to make, but it is something I am going through, and when I've searched for things like this on YouTube, I just couldn't find anything that would help, and so here I am. So I found out back in April that I was pregnant with mine and my husband's first child, and I was so excited. Well, ecstatic, like we really wanted it, we really planned for it, so happy. And obviously I'll make further videos along this to go into detail of everything that's gone on, but we unfortunately found out a few weeks ago now that our baby had Edwards syndrome, which obviously if you look into it's not a good thing to have. You know, the baby might not survive the full pregnancy, and if it does, you do have the baby, they have a lot of problems, and it's, you know, it's not good, and, you know, we're devastated. So I just thought I would come on here and talk about it, talk about what we've had to go through, because obviously it's devastating, and I really found it quite hard to find much help out there for it. So went for our 12-week scan and we saw a little baby and it was wonderful. We were so excited, but unfortunately on the scan it showed that the baby had a higher NT reading at the back of the neck. Now, people can have a scan and have a higher reading and it means absolutely nothing, and they can go on and have a healthy baby. So I think for anyone out there that has had a higher reading, I wouldn't, you know, think straight away that something's wrong. I would just wait. But unfortunately for us, ours was 4.1. So that then set the ball rolling of needing to have blood tests. Now, you can opt in, opt out to have the Downs, Edwards and Patau's blood test, which me and my husband decided we wanted to have that blood test anyway before we even knew the scan. And so you have your scan, then you have to wait. I think we had to wait about 3 days after having the blood test and the scan all on the same day. And basically when that test comes back, it tells you whether you've got a high or a low chance of Downs, Edwards or Patau's. You could have one, you could have Edwards and Patau's, you could have all three. So unfortunately, 3 days later, we got our results back and they were high. Now, our chances were not great. We had a 1 in 7 chance of having a baby with Edwards and Patau's, and we had a 1 in 40 chance of a baby having Downs. Now, at the time of that, it wasn't explained very clearly, so for anyone out there that has had a high reading back, for example the 1 in 7 that we had, that is basically 7 people in a room, identical to you, age, everything like that, and there is a possibility that one of you in that room could have Edwards or Patau's. Now that's not saying one will definitely have it, but one is most likely to have Edwards or Patau's. So we obviously got those odds back, and it was you know, for us, that was, you know, not the best chances. So you then go on and you meet a screening midwife. And she was a lovely lady. She was very kind and, you know, very helpful. And she gave us our options. So there is a non-invasive test that you can have done called a Harmony blood test. and this basically gives you percentage chance of it having or not having it. Edwards-Downs or Patau, sorry. But it's obviously not 100% accurate, but also it's more, if you read quite, I mean, I did a lot of research into all of this, and it's more aimed at Down syndrome, and obviously we had a 1 in 40 chance of that, so that wasn't necessarily so worrying to myself and my husband. It was more the Edwards and Patau's. So then the next option is a CVS test, a chronic vesicular sampling test, which is where they take a sample of placenta and they test it. They test the baby's DNA, find out if there's anything going on. And you can have that, I believe, 11 to 14 weeks. 15 weeks onwards, you have to have an amniocentesis. I think I said that right. And that's where they take a sample of amniotic fluid from around the baby. Both come with various risks, and I'm sure you can look into that and find out, you know, what the risks and everything like that are, which is what we did, and we decided to go for the CVS test done so we could get the results done quicker. Now, if, you know, requested, I can make a video and go into a bit more detail about what the CVS test is, what it involves, because again, I didn't find much help on that either, and kind of, you know, you read, like, if I'm in England, I'm not too sure in like in America and that, but the NHS description of what it is and how you feel after probably isn't quite how it feels after. And it doesn't include the emotional side of it as well, which was for me a massive, you know, a massive thing, because obviously this is just so emotional at the minute, you know, it's so hard, it's so raw. So anyway, we had the test done. You have to go to a specialist hospital, unless the hospital near you does it, and you stay in for a few hours and you have the test done. And the first test comes back 3 working days later, and that's for Downs, Edwards or Patau's. If your NT reading is slightly higher, they do offer you here in England a microarray test, which is, they basically further look into the DNA chromosomes of the baby if the Edwards, Downs and Patau's was to come back okay, to see if there was anything further wrong for the higher reading of the back of the neck. Unfortunately for us, the test came back in 3 days and the baby had Edwards syndrome, and it was completely devastating. I mean, our world was rocked. I mean, when you find out you're having a baby, you start making plans for where they're going to go to school. Like, you know, you plan everything, you know, and we really did have hope that it would be okay. We knew the pregnancy would be probably more drawn out, because obviously if you have that higher reading, you then have to go on to have heart scans at 16 weeks, skeletal scans at 20 weeks, just to make sure everything's okay. And when they pull the data out of a computer to say whether you're high or low for Downs, Edwards or Patau's, it's a lot of it's based on hormones, and so one of my hormones, it's PAPA-A, was very low, and so if the baby had come back and been fine, it would have shown that maybe the placenta wouldn't work quite so well later on in the pregnancy. I would have had to deliver early, so of course that would have had its own things going on had everything been okay. But like any parent you would deal with at the time, you know, you get these results back, and if they're okay, right, okay, on to the next one, and you just, you know, you go with it, you know. But unfortunately for us, our baby was not okay, and we found this out about 13 and a half weeks, because we went for the CVS the first time, and unfortunately they couldn't do it, so I had to do it the second time. Again, I can go into all of that in another video without bombarding everybody with such a long-winded story. And then we were faced with a tough decision. And this is what I think as well I found so hard a video to find out about. Like, I mean, if someone said to you, I've just found out my baby's got Edwards syndrome, I mean, what do you do? Who do you speak to? You know, you've got the screening midwives, yes, but actually, I personally don't know anyone that's gone through it. I have tons of people that are pregnant the same time as me. My sister's had babies and they've had the most wonderful pregnancies, you know, some of sickness and things like that, but all relatively absolutely fine. And so I think that is the hardest part of it all, you know. You feel very alone. I mean, you know, I feel I have nobody to talk to about it, and you read about it, but reading is sometimes not so helpful, because in your mind you know, you read it and you could take it in one way, someone else could read something, take it in a completely different way. It's just so difficult. So we're faced with the decision of, do we continue with the pregnancy, which would obviously mean the baby would be very poorly if it was born and would not survive long after. The pregnancy probably wouldn't have lasted anyway. Maybe it gets 20, 24 weeks and I would have lost the baby. Or it was medical termination. And if I'm completely honest... So sorry, as I was saying, the other option is medical termination. And to be quite honest, I absolutely hate the phrase. To me, when someone says medical termination, that means, I don't know, to me that means, you know, a choice. I didn't feel like I had a choice. You know, I met with the best consultants around and they all told me, realistically, the health of the baby. Now, please know that how I have had to deal with this is not how someone else would deal with this, or me not finishing the pregnancy, someone else will carry on with the pregnancy. Like, it's so individual, like you cannot compare. It's more that we can all relate with the emotions that we're feeling as we're having to go through this. So we decided to have the medical termination. I had that done last week now, and it's very hard every day, because I mean, we wanted the baby so much. It's not like, you know, we didn't want it, or we didn't give everything to make sure that we could, you know, we did everything we could for that baby. And I would have done more. I would have done anything. I would have done anything to make sure that it would be okay. Again, with getting the procedure done, again, it's not really a procedure, is it? I can only phrase it as losing my baby, because I don't feel like it was a choice. I feel like I had to do it. But I can talk more about that, because actually, again, I could find nothing. There was the website, so, you know, you take one tablet this day and 2 days later you go in and, you know, you take some more and it all happens. Oh my God, like, it was so hard. So hard. And right now it's so difficult. Getting out of bed and getting showered is difficult. Just trying to think positively is like really difficult. So yeah, I'll talk about that, probably not just yet though, because it's so raw, but it does need to be spoken about, because everything you read on the internet and that is not helpful. I don't find it helpful. Didn't think it was informative. I didn't think it gave me any clarity on what would happen, or how I'd feel after, or you know, what is your body doing after, because at the moment there is a lot going on, and actually that is making it harder to deal with as well. So I'll definitely go through all of that. But I hope this video maybe helps someone. Even if it's one person, it's better than no one. But it's more to show the timeline of what's gone through. So I would have now been 15 weeks. I lost the baby at 14.5 weeks. So yeah, that is an overview of what's happened. Now I really do genuinely hope that this channel becomes more, follows a bit of a journey, see what happens, see how you get over this, because at this moment in time I don't know how you get over this or deal with this, I don't know, but hopefully it helps someone. Now if you've got any questions or anything at all, put them below and I'll try and answer them. And like I say, I'll make another video about the CVS test, what I went through, what I felt like afterwards, and also losing the baby as well at a later point, what happened, what I had to go through, how it was afterwards, just to try and help, because oh my god, I've tried searching this so much and I just can't find anything. So there we go. I will go now. It's my first video done. Not a topic I wanted to be talking about at all, but it is. So here we go. Yeah, so anyway, thank you for watching, and I just really hope that this helps someone out there that's going through the same thing as what I am. Okay, thank you for watching.